Hello friends, back we are with a test-driven development screencast. In this video we are gonna complete the successful path of creating a post, and depending on the time we might start or even finish the unsuccessful cases as well, where we have to show an error if we submit a post and it's not successful. Of course we have to inform the user. So let's see how that's gonna go. In the previous episode, of course, we were addressing a little problem that we had with the contract of the post catalog. That's addressed, and now we can get back to our UI test that was ignored initially, so we can enable it and start working from there. So let's see how that's gonna go. So here is our ignore test. I'll just remove the ignore annotation. And I'll go ahead and run this test and see how it's gonna go. So it fails, and let's see why. So it fails because it cannot find a basically the ID of the user, because here we are expecting the ID of the user to be shown when a post is being created. Now on the screen we clearly saw that the post is being created, but the post only contains the actual text, which in this case is my new post. So what we have to do is, first we have to open the timeline screen, and of course, in the timeline, we have a post list and we have a post item. So here is this is where we have to work in order to show the. So what we want to show is we want to show the user ID and the date time of the creation of that post. So the way I want to show them is that I'm gonna show the post text, actually the content of the post, a little bit bigger below, and on top I want to show on the left the user ID and on the right the date time. So in order to do that, so let's first add here a style, which is gonna be material theme, typography, I don't know, H5, let's say. So it's gonna make it stand out, it's gonna make it a little bit bigger. And what I wanna do is, because I'm gonna show this post text below, and above I want to show something else, basically a row. So what I want to do is I need to wrap this into a column, so then I have a controller showing like something above and below. And of course the column should expand to its maximum width, so fill max width. I'm thinking, yeah, it should, yeah, only fill max width. That's fine. And of course add a name here. It's more than obvious that this is a modifier, but when we give a name to the argument, I think it's a good practice in Compose, because if you put this code under code review, it's gonna be easier for like whoever is reading to see what is the named argument. Of course, now here it is clear that it's this modifier here, but like below here, if you just put post text and then material, typography, whatever, it's not clear whether this is style, what's what. But of course, if you do that for text, we should do that for everything, so then it's gonna be consistent across the code style. So that's important. So we have the fill max width, and then here I just need a row. And the row should also expand to the available width. And of course, I also have to, I think, add some padding, because the padding, like I can choose here, right? I can say whether I'm gonna add a padding on the column and then remove this padding here and this padding here, or I can add padding to both of these. Of course, it's not gonna come up with the exactly same result, because adding padding to each and every child in the column is gonna add additional padding between them, right? One on top, one on bottom. Well, that's fine, I think, for now. I can do some polishing later on if I need to. But let's see. I think for now it is just okay. because we want to focus on something more important now, the functionality. So this is the row, and of course the row should also have a I want to arrange these things. So basically I want on the left, very left side, to show the post outer. On the very right, I want to show the date time. So I need a horizontal arrangement, which is gonna be a arrangement space between. It's gonna separate them. And of course here I need a text where first I'll show the post user ID. So it's gonna be the outer, and of course another text where I have to show the post now the date time. So in order to show the date time, all I have available here is a timestamp, which is a long. So how do I convert this timestamp into something readable for the user? So I think there are separate, like, different ways of doing this, but for now I think the easiest thing is to just add an extension function only here in this class. That's gonna do the job. But of course I'll have to think about separating that into a standalone component, which is going to be part of the UI, and then if I need to change it later, I won't change the screen, but actually that component, it will just parse or like format the time according to my need. But for now I think it's gonna be just easy to do. Let's say post.timestamp to date time, let's say. So create extension function on long here. It's gonna return string. So what do I need? I need a datetime format, which is gonna be a simple date format, and then I'll just put here the pattern. So of course, this is something that it's just private here, hidden, nothing exposed. It's gonna do the job. The problem is that every time I want to render something, I'm gonna call this, which is gonna create new instance of the simple datetime format. So that's sort of a logical duplication that I would like to address. Of course, I'll add that into my to-do list here. So address the date time format in the timeline, logical duplication. That's something that I want to address, but of course for now I can just move on and don't spend much time on it. But it's nice to have it as a note in there so I don't forget. So I need to format it in a way that date, day, month, year, hour, minute. And of course I need to put there a locale. US is gonna fit just good. And of course now return the date time format this, and this is the long that is being passed. So this is gonna be doing the job for now. That's fine. So let's close now the timeline and go back to my test. So here is the test, and if I run now, so let's see why, whether it is gonna fail and why. I think it's gonna fail because of the date, the date time. Right now we're just using a post catalog that is gonna just take the current date time instead of, so we need to control it in a way. So exactly, so it says it cannot find this date time. So that's the problem. So what do is we want to control the time. So in order to control the time, we need to replace. So let's first do this. Clock is controllable clock. Okay, the controllable clock, first of all, is not available in these tests. These are UI tests. We have the controllable clock available only in the unit tests. So what we have to do is move it in the shared directory so we can reuse between the both. So let's do that first. So if I open here my infrastructure, I can find the controllable clock. This is the class. So what I want to do is I want to move it. So this is the move refactoring. So the idea is I'm gonna leave everything in the same package, but just instead of leaving in the same source, I'm just gonna move it into the shared test. So let's do this refactoring. And now I wanna make sure that I didn't break anything. So I'm gonna run the micro test first, because that was the only place where this controllable clock was used, and they are working. So that gives me confidence. Now, what I want to do is I want to commit that. So I have here, as I can see in the log, I can see that actually the only thing that changed according to the controllable, in regards to the controllable clock, is change of directory. So I'm gonna commit this. And I'll say moved the controllable clock into the shared tests directory, so I can reuse the timeline. I think this is all part of the same goal, so I'm just gonna keep it. So what I want to do here first is to create a controllable clock, and here I'm just gonna post timestamp, and the timestamp is going to be, so I need to create a timestamp that will match the date time of this exact thingy. So how do I do that? I think we have something available on Android here as local date time of, well, let's move it on a new line. Now here I have to put, let me see, year 2021, month 10, day 30. Now it says hour, it's 15, but the thing is that I'll have to pass also time zone to this thingy, and for a time zone I don't want to do any calculations. I just want to be simple and pass 0, which means 2 hours before before 15. So 2 hours before 15 is going to be 13, and the same minutes. So then convert it to instant, and here is where I have to put a zone offset of total seconds, let's say 0, and then 2 milliseconds. That's the time. So let's move the timestamp up. Now I have a clock, and what I want to do is replace post catalog with in memory post catalog, where the clock is going to be the clock. And that's what I want to do. So let's create this function, post catalog. So what I'll do is create a new module. Now in this module, I'll override whatever it is there with the post catalog, and then load this module. And of course, I have to not forget to reset the things afterwards. So I think it's the best place to reset is to do it in the after. And I'm gonna create a function tear down, where I'll replace the post catalog with just in-memory post catalog, the default one, and replace user data with in-memory user data and pass there an empty string. So the reason why am I resetting by using just using the exact same thing that I want to pass there, which is in this case the in-memory post catalog, the in-memory user data, is that it gives me it's readable. It gives me exactly it's easy for me to understand what am I resetting it with. I can in comparison, I can use the global scope, the global coin, something with the globals in order to get what was there before. I think it's way too complicated. This way I can see exactly what's happening, and that's more readable, which is like the most important thing in the tests. So now we have the replacing the post catalog. You may ask, why am I replacing the entire post catalog instead of just replacing the clock in the module? Well, the reason being is that if I open my application module, I don't have yet, I don't have here definitions for the clock, and I don't have any definition for the clock. And if I open the post catalog, it just uses a default system clock. That's a decision that I made before, that I like the in-memory post catalog is just gonna depend on, well, it won't depend on anything. It can just I can create without passing anything, and all of these arguments are optional. So that was the decision. I can definitely pull this out, like create definitions here. That's possible, but I think that might be a nice little, tuning or little refactoring that we can do later. Like, I don't know, maybe even polishing, I would say. But for now, this is just fine. I think it's like of no consequence. So let me now inline this. That's the setup, and I think this timestamp, it will be cleaner if I name it time zone offset. Well, timestamp with time zone offset. Yeah, so it's timestamp with time zone offset, so it's gonna make clear that there is something different. That's why this like 13 will come to 15 here. Okay, let's run the test and watch what's happening now. I hope it's gonna, well, I ran the micro tests. Let's run the create new post. That's the test that we want to run. Okay, so it works. Now both data is being presented as we expected. So now let's see where we are first and foremost. So what we can say here is that the timeline shows the post author and the date time along the post content. Nice, beautiful. What I want to do next is I would like to write one more test where I'll see what if I create post after post. So I create one post and then I create another post. I need both of them to be displayed. I just want to make sure as part of the flow that this is also working. So let's do that. Create multiple posts, because I want to make sure that the user will be able to create more than one post. So of course I'm gonna launch the post composer for, let's use the same thing and pass there the rule. And then what's gonna happen? So I wanna type a post, my first post, and then submit. Then When I submit, it should bring me back to the timeline. Now on the timeline, I have to click again the button that goes to the post composer. So tap on create new post. Then again, type post, my second post, and then submit. And then I'll verify that the newly created post is shown. And let's use the same, so I can reuse the same thing. 10, 2021, 15, 30. My first post, and of course my second post. So what I have here is I need to create a tap on create new post function in this particular robot, which is missing for now. So if I go up here and if I see how am I opening the post composer, I'll see that there is tap on create new post, and actually I can take that one and put it here as well. So what it does essentially is like getting the string of the create new post, which is added as a tag on that composable, and then I'm looking for a node with that tag and then perform a click. That's no brainer. So let's go back to our verification. And now the test is completed. I mean, just the actual thing how I want to read it, the test, but of course the arrangement is not done, so I have to do the same thing here as well. So replace the user data with in-memory user data, where I'm gonna have the ID of the user. So it's important to like this user ID to match with this. So the thing is that this setup is gonna use our in-memory user catalog, which actually takes everything before the add as an ID and it adds ID. That's actually the implementation how it is now. That's why it is important. And on the other hand, we still don't have the friendship moment here in the application. So like the only way to the only posts that are being shown in the timeline are the posts that are created by the same user that is being logged in like signed up into the application, so the ID that matches. Once we have the friendship and like following friends and all of things, we can actually create posts for one user and then see if another user can see that is following them. They can see the posts. I think that's going to be covered later on when we create the friendship and the users and everything. The friends. For now, I think this is just sufficient. It's more than enough because this is not focusing on the actual user, but rather on the post. So that's totally fine. So that's it. We just know what's the reason behind this. Next, and I think part of the problem is also that the fact that for now we don't have a mechanism to once we sign up, we are not in our application module. We are just using the in-memory user data. This is not something that stores anything anywhere. So like we are just passing this empty string, and this thing here is like that's how it works. So what's gonna happen when we complete this step here, fix this, remember the sign up user, actually we have a node for that as well. So then we can also perhaps update or like simplify the UI tests in the create new post UI test case. Right. So what's gonna happen is that we won't have a need to replace anything here, because like when we sign up, the user that we are signing up with is gonna be remembered, and then there won't be a need for this thing here. So okay, that's for later. Now next, what I wanna do is I want to replace the post catalog with an in memory post catalog, where the clock is gonna be a controllable clock with timestamp with time zone offset. Create, of course, a local variable, and I'll just borrow the same thing from here. Oops. And finally, I can run, well, let's first run only this test, the create multiple posts, and let's see if that's gonna work. So what it does is it says expected exactly one node, but couldn't find any node that satisfies what's on your mind. So basically it cannot open the composer once the first post is being created. So let's run this manually and see. So if I create a post, of course it is not being shown because, as I said before, the application module is injecting in-memory user data, which is like empty string, so it is not matching with the user ID that I've just signed up. But nonetheless, like the timeline, we got back to the timeline, and now the problem is that if I try to open the post composer, it brings me back to the timeline automatically. So let's see. First of all, are we clean? We are not, and we have a new test that is failing. Now we cannot commit before making this pass. Let's see what we have to do. We open the post, create new post screen. So let's see. So what's happening here is that we are observing the view model and a post state, and we are reacting when the post is being created. We are calling a function that actually is a callback, and if I open the main activity, it just navigates up, so that's the callback. Now the problem is that this view model that we are having, the create post view model that we are passing in this composable, is not scoped to the life cycle of this composable. So it is like when we create a new post, it succeeds. So the state in the post, the state of the post state here inside it, the state is created. Now we go back to the timeline, and when we try to open the screen again, we are observing to the view model, and we see that actually the last state is created. So it just calls this function, it brings us back. So we are in an endless loop. That's why this doesn't work. So what we can do, we can come up with a mechanism. Basically, we can create a screen state, as we've done for the timeline and for the sign up, where we are gonna store something that will tell us whether this post was submitted, let's say. And if it was submitted, when we receive this state, we submit it and it was created, so only then go back. Otherwise, if it was not submitted previously, then we are not gonna go back. And this state is scoped to the life cycle of this composable, because that's how that we are gonna remember it here. So that's how it is going to work. So let's create here a class that I'm gonna name create new post screen state. That's the naming convention that we used for for the timeline. So we have timeline screen state, and we have also for the sign up screen state. So this is also the create new post screen state. So inside here, I'm just gonna create a variable is post submitted by mutable state of false initially. And then I'm gonna also expose a function set post submitted, where I'm gonna say is post submitted to true. That's about it. Nothing more, nothing less here. Now, of course, I have to store this as a screen state by remember. I hate the studio that it brings me to the new line when I. And here I would say mutable state of create new post screen. Oops, create new post screen state. This is what I want. And now, when I click this button, I'm gonna say to the screen state that I have submitted this post. And back here, when I receive back, that the post is being created, I'm gonna check, was it submitted before? So if screen state is post submitted, if it was submitted, then now it is created. So I submitted, the backend or like whoever I submitted to created, it sent me back that okay, cool, this is created. Only then I'm gonna go back. Then the next time when I open the screen, this is coming anew, and it's gonna say that okay, now it is not submitted, so I don't have to go back. So let's see if that actually works or not. So I'm running the tests now. So it works. I saw it on the screen, but something is wrong now with the test. Let's see. So it says expected exactly one node, but found two nodes that satisfy the user ID. So basically what's happening, we have now more than one node that is satisfying the same thing, basically this user, because we have more than one post. So actually all we have to do is change this assertion. I think we can do on node with on all nodes with text user ID, and then I think there are only cert count equals well, we can use this assertion, and also on all nodes with text date, the same, assert counts equals. Let's see if that's gonna work. So I expect 2 times the user ID, 2 times the date, and the test passes, so that's good. Let's see where we are. So we have the create multiple posts, create new post screen state. That's great. I think I'm just gonna keep it there because I'll definitely need to add some stuff there for the error states, and only then I'm gonna extract it from there. For now it is fine. And let's submit this. Let's check the scene. So what I have here is introduced screen state for the post composer. That's about it. And now let's see if we can improve some stuff here, or we cannot. Well, basically you can extract this as a field because it is reused in both tests. So we can say timestamp so timestamp with time zone offset is this thingy. That's my val, and I don't need this, and I don't need this. And of course, now I think I would like to run all the UI tests at once to see if everything's fine. And then all the other things I believe in these tests are relevant for the actual tests, so I'm gonna leave them. And the only thing, as I wrote before in my to-do list, the only thing that I want to do here is like to improve. Okay, we have a failing test. We'll have to see what's going on. The only thing that I want to improve here would be the duplication of I mean eliminate the setup of the logged in user. So that's the failure. Create new post. Expected 2 nodes but found 1. Ah, okay. So now we broke the first. Okay. So we broke the first because it uses the same. Okay. So now we have to come up with a better assertion here. So if I do on all nodes with text, assert all is, I don't know, it's not enabled. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it is not clear what I can do, but at least I know that there are 2. So what I can do is I have this on first, on last. So I think there are 2. I can just use this on first, assert is displayed, and then also on last. So I think that way, and the same for the date time. I can do on first, assert is displayed, and on the last. So yeah, I have to also go and see what are all the possibilities that I can use for these assertions. I think for now, I hope this is gonna work. So I know that there are 2, like at most 2. If there is 1, it's the first and the last is the same. If there are 2, the first is like the first, the last is the second. So as we can see now, both of them are working fine. So I think that's gonna be just sufficient for now. I don't need anything more than that. I think this one was a glitch of the emulator. Yeah, I think it is glitch of the emulator. I'm gonna rerun just to make sure it was. Because yeah, we have that that animating thingy, and usually when there is an animation, I mean, if the thing is not matching with the time, it might miss, the assertion might miss the thing that is being displayed or not displayed. So now it passed as yeah, of course. Yeah, maybe there is a room for improvement on that. I don't know. If I see that failing more often, then I'll definitely address that. But for now, I think it was just a glitch of the emulator at this particular moment. Let's see where we are with the commits. So first, this one, I'm gonna amend the previous commit where I have changed the assertions, And now here I'll just say removed duplication. I'm not sure if I can remove any more of the duplication, because I said it is relevant here, like all these things. This is gonna go, this is gonna go, but for here, for example, yeah, I can just pull the in-memory post catalog into a property of its own, but I think it's not gonna be a problem to have it here as well. We'll maybe do that when I remove this, but for the rest I think everything is just fine. Okay, good. Let's close this. Now what I want to do next is let's run the application myself. Oh, first, maybe before that, I know that I have to change a little bit the application module. So here, let's put this and now run the application so that I can manually test it a little bit and see how everything's gonna look like, so I can play a bit. It's important now to use this because I have to match with the in-memory user data that I have here, so that's important. So the more I use now this the application, and the more I'm testing, the more need I'm seeing that I definitely have to take a look at like making an implementation of the in-memory user user data, like to store whoever is being like creating the profile, like signing up. I have to store it in the application instead of now having this hard-coded thingy here. So the need is rising, and now I definitely have to take a look as like one of the most important steps that are next, so that I can just get rid of this dependency across like in my tests and when I want to test it manually. So here, as I can see, I can do a little bit cosmetics here. So let's say first post. And now you see I have to close the keyboard in order to reach the button. That's not okay. So here is my first post. So this looks nice, I think. This is just fine. Just like for the beginning, that this is more than satisfying. That's what I wanted to do. Let's now do these cosmetics that I'm talking about. I'll leave this for now. Let me see what I want to do. Post create new post screen. That's what I want to open. So what do we got here? I have a column which is a fill max size. I need to add a padding of I think 16 dp. Let's make sure it's the same padding as, let's say, in the timeline. So the timeline has a, yeah, indeed, the padding is 16. And now, of course, and yeah, again, what was the spacer between the screen title and the actual content is also 16. So can do the same here. Let's run. I think it should look way better now. So we have a add some password, sign up. And now, yeah, the composer looks way better. The only thing is that the button is being hidden when I open the keyboard. And let's address that one too. Well, first, let's check this in. Not this one, but this one. Made added padding in the post composer. Now, yeah, I want to open the manifest, and here for the activity, I want to do I want to change the soft input mode into adjust resize, so that when the keyboard opens, it will resize the thing and it will work the way I want it. So let's see. Sorry. And then a pass. And now if I want to type something, I can type, and now the button is like just there for me above the keyboard. So what I can do here is like boom. That's what I wanted. So this looks already quite okay. And I think what we are missing right now is, let's first check this in. Update the window soft input mode to adjust resize. And I'll delete this. I'm not gonna commit it. So I think no, it is pretty satisfying. The post composer and everything. So the only thing that is left is the error cases in the post composer. And I also I desperately need to address, so let's see where we are. Create post UI polishing. I think the only thing, like the first thing, is the post composer error states, well, error cases. So that's the only the thing that is missing in the post composer. And of course, yeah, this is also something that I would like to address. But something that is very important, at least for now, is the I desperately need to do something with a signed up user. So that's also like a number one, well, one of the priorities. And then we can move on towards the friends and friendships. So like we will need a screen where we'll list all the users. We'll have a possibility to search across the users, and then follow users, unfollow users, those kind of things. And then we'll be able to see their posts. But of course, this must be done first. So I think this episode is coming close to 50 minutes, which is a bit too much. And so then I think I'll leave for the next episode the error cases, and I'm gonna address this one. In fact, let me first address this one in the first the first thing in the next episode is to address this one, then work on the error cases. I think we are gonna manage that, and then of course we can move towards remembering the user. I think that's gonna be it for this episode. So thank you so much for the time and attention. I hope you're having fun and we are learning together. And I'll make sure to catch you in the next episode. Cheers.